Welcome back to another episode of Aunt and Andrew with Family's Everything.
Until it's not. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, Aunt.
How are you?
I'm doing well, gearing up for a gregreat Labor Day weekend.
Ooh, last weekend of the summer. So, did you enjoy this episode on its total? What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, I
Starting out
really
bad.
loved it.
On its totality. I want to say totalitarian,
Collectively,
yeah, collectively as a whole. I thought it was a very balanced episode.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the 6 minutes of my life that I'll never get back when Jennifer and Katie were sitting in Ryan's beautiful backyard talking
Gorgeous.
about some fine things. It was very thrilling.
You want to know what I wrote down during that is whose house is it? Did this show whose house this is?
Well, because they said Jennifer, so we know she don't got her own house. So we knew that because
I wasn't sure though. It wasn't Katie's house.
No, but if they had the intro,
but then they went to Katie's house.
No,
house, and I knew it wasn't.
No.
Go ahead.
But if you the way that they title the person, like, so if they showed two people sitting, but then they like they showed the house.
They showed Jennifer outside first. I missed that. I was writing down.
And Jennifer standing like the title card.
Beautiful house.
Backyard.
Yeah. Oh, the house, the whole thing, the whole package.
But the house itself is nothing special compared to some of the others we've seen. The backyard, let me tell you.
I'm telling you.
It was meant. Ryan used to have parties back in the day. There's a girl motorboating someone over here. There's another one doing something.
It was like a little mini grotto, like at the old corner. Playboy mansion.
Yes, every corner had a sitting area, a chair,
a little area,
riding here, riding there, a little la-di-da.
Maybe a little stripper action here, there, everywhere. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a great observation. I'm going to tell you.
The last thing I'll say about that scene is that the one good thing we saw is that Katie continues to show me that she is shady enough to be a housewife.
A little bit. You mean what
aspect? How far up Heather's ass? Like Gina. You know what? That is the sign of a great housewife. Let me tell you why. She is just barely on the fence with Gina. She just started having problems. She was brought on by Gina. And I like the housewife that doesn't crucify someone because you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, that brought you on the show, or your connection.
Yeah, I get that.
But it's okay. You don't have to pledge allegiance to the Gina Kirschneider, you know? You don't have to do that either. So it's like, I'm happy. She called it what it was. She did what she was supposed to do.
Yes. Now, I loved the way the show basically started. We had a lot of cars. We had this one driving with her daughter, this one driving with her daughter, and then we had Shannon. She doesn't know. She could almost do an infomercial of how to buy a car with a breathalyzer in it.
I read a review.
And we're going to talk about Shannon and her breathalyzer on our Hot Topics podcast that you'll also see this weekend. She's funny. We had to hum. They kept on saying hum, and she kept on going.
Yeah, no,
it was so Shannon.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about it. I will say this is that.
Now, did she total her first BMW?
That's what they said. Yeah, she totaled her car.
She totaled the car in that accident. All she did was bump over.
She totally hit the door of the person's house. Oh, sorry. I will say this, that I don't know why we're talking so much about this breathalyzer. We need to also just be honest and be like, because Tamara's like, well, why do you want your license? Like, you can't drink. It's like, she may want to go run some errands on a Saturday afternoon.
She said she hadn't brought her dry cleaning because she hasn't driven for months.
But here's the secret to everyone. She can still take an Uber when she wants to go out and drink.
Yeah, but I get all that. But
she's going to do both now. Now she has the ability to drive to do her errands on a Saturday afternoon when she's not boozing. And then she can Uber out with her friends when she wants to drink.
True, but if you don't have your license for a while, that really, because you don't necessarily, women are different. Well, you like to shop too, and you know how the family is, so to speak. But like, I'll say I'm just going to do a few errands, and I'll say I have to go to return a package at the post office.
And you'll end up at the casino.
And And I'll end up, no, Costco. It's when I say I'm
Costco.
going to Costco, I end up at the casino. But I'll
They're
say I'm
close.
going to the post office and I end up at Home Goods, at Home Sense, at
Yes.
TJX, at the dollar store. I mean, at
You and
Ultra,
my
at
mom.
Sephora.
The
I
apple
mean, you
doesn't
just
fall
don't
far from the
know.
tree.
I told you, it's a family problem. I just don't know where I'm going to end up. And I'll say I'm going to do some errands and then I got to go to Panera because I'm parched now and I need a cup of coffee. So my trip to the post office could become 5 hours, and that's not conducive to having an Uber.
No, I agree. I think it's good that she's taking the steps. I also think that everyone that's saying that Shannon hasn't acknowledged her wrongdoing, the conversations need to end now.
Yeah, no, I like Shannon. What can I say? I thought it was very interesting that when Katie went out in the car with her daughter, they were driving an Audi. But I will give Tamara Judge props that Sophia Barney was in a Mazda.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that. But what
Tamara
is this?
redeemed herself a little bit this episode.
Yeah, I think she had a come to Jesus moment in a weird way with Shannon. I told you last week when they had to stop filming and Shannon went to the bathroom, I really thought it refocused Tamara at that moment. And also there was no Alexis. And when there's no Alexis around, it's a whole different, the whole group. She affects that dynamic of that group bigly.
Well, I also think that Shannon's not going to just be emotionally present and be real with Alexis there. With Alexis there, it's tit for tat. It's up against each other.
Totally.
Whereas with Tamara, it's like Tamara's not involved with John Jansen. Tamara's friends with Alexis. Right. So in that sense, Shannon can focus more on her emotions, her view on the situation, and not the idea that she's sitting across from or arguing with about John Jansen, his new girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. Now, you know what was sad about the whole thing with Sophia and Tamara and the whole bit?
Yeah.
Is Simon doesn't talk to 2 of his kids and Tamara doesn't talk to one of hers. That's kind of sad. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, they're all
Katie
in the same area.
Katie has a similar arrangement, it seems like.
Yeah, but I think
I will say
little...
Katie's I really appreciated Katie's reality check with those that go through these broken marriages and families, where she said, you know, I'm not able, you know, my son decided that he wanted to stay with his dad and therefore like I don't have a relationship with him and that's just the way it is. But it's the same with her daughter, with her ex and the whole thing. It was humbling and nice to watch. I will say that I always find it very like the Jaden wants to become Rachel Fuda's adopted son on Jersey. And like we see this all
and we
the
have
time.
another adoption here. Yeah.
I just have to ask, how ironic and convenient is it that you've been in this child's life, you know, your
forever.
New husband,
and
you're
now
married,
that you're on the Housewives, all of a sudden
you change the name. Let's go let's go legally get something done, adoption. True. I'm telling you, there was an infamous woman who got engaged 18 times, changed her name way before the Housewives.
Yeah.
And wrote a book about it.
I know. Danielle Staub. I want to tell you, I actually thought when I'm watching this, I just thought to myself, the realest thing in this show right now is the rain.
Oh.
Everything else is sort of contrived. The rain they couldn't control, and it never rains in California, so they can't deal with rain. I hate to insult any California people.
Are you talking now about Traitors, the Traitors?
Yeah, the Traitors episode. But as you know, we were talking about the episode as a whole. I thought the only thing really real here was, well, Shannon doing the breathalyzer, though that was staged also.
That was staged. It's real life things that are happening in Shannon's life, but the scene itself was staged.
Right. You know what I mean? You have to go to the breathalyzer store. They know you're coming. All that stuff's prearranged.
It's also not that hard, and I don't think Shannon is messing up blowing into it that many times. She was doing it just to kind of be funny for the show.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, that's why I'm saying in like Emily and Shane with the spray tan, again, it was a very staged a little bit.
Emily's conversation about her mom, it all really does make sense.
Was real. Yes, that part was real, but the whole spray tanning thing, again, a setup. And that's why I thought that the rain was the most real part of this episode. I wrote that
And
down.
Teddy Mellencamp being a major bitch to Vicky Gunvalson. It will never change.
So shady.
Hi, Housewives and Vicky.
I know.
That was genius.
But it was so Vicky also in the car.
But the reason, but if you listen to two T's in a pod, if you listen to two T's in a pod, Teddy doesn't know why Vicky doesn't want to be called one of the housewives, even if it's a friend or a housewife. She's very adamant about it this season. That's why we're not seeing her as much, because I don't think they're paying her. I think she's genuinely coming on very much limited, and maybe they pay her per scene or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
And Teddy thinks it's weird because Teddy believes that Vicky wants nothing more than to be a full-time housewife.
Oh, and so maybe she's using reverse psychology.
She is. That's why
she did
it as a way. And Vicky, that's why I don't think Vicky exploded, because I think Vicky knows what she's doing. She's saying like,
listen, you don't get to be the OG. I mean, I'm not just the OG of the OC. Vicky Gunvalson is the OG.
Okay, but Vicky Gunvalson.
No. Vicky is, as far as I'm concerned, the top of the pyramid when it comes to housewives.
I compare Vicky though to like, okay,
she's the queen.
Let's use the Michael Jordan example. Okay, Vicky was Michael Jordan of housewives, right?
Yeah.
Big superstar, greatest of all time. Michael Jordan decided to go try baseball at one point. It wasn't that successful for the Chicago White Sox. Okay, he played, right?
Okay.
You don't know this. I don't know if you know this, but he did.
I don't
it wasn't
know that.
great.
It makes sense. It was
then
Chicago.
He went back to basketball and played for the Washington Wizards. Then he officially finally retired, and now he owns Charlotte and billions through his brand and business opportunities.
Okay.
Vicky, okay?
Yeah.
You left. You were at the top of your game. You're gone. Then you try to come back, friend, pushing to be a housewife. This is your baseball attempt, okay?
Oh, interesting sports analogy. Yeah,
Become the owner. Become the investor. Well, I don't know what that means, but Bethany did it.
And not only
Bethany's gone, and she's still relevant. She's still topical. She's still, even if it's through crazy videos of her eating lobster rolls and shoving food down her throat.
She still has people still talking about her.
Exactly.
And you know what they've been playing yesterday? Since we had no Alexis Bellino last night's episode, maybe that's why Bravo all day, because I have it on in the background sometimes, was playing season whatever with Alexis Bellino in it.
Oh, probably.
And even then, she comes across terrible. I'll be honest with you. Even when she was with Jim and fighting with Tamra and the whole bit, it was kind of funny because they would definitely throw in her shade for sure. But today, okay, I'm not giving out any spoilers. They're playing a Scary Island season of New York. Oof. I think they're going to be playing a different season every week, a different like signature season.
They might be just doing some testers of the waters too, to see what people still really care about.
No, but I think this is a dead weekend for television. Everybody, it's the last week. And I think they're like yesterday they played all day OC. Today they're playing all day New York. The other day they had on Jersey. And I think they're probably going to be leading up to Salt Lake. Maybe they're playing some New York to get the New York thing going and all of that. Okay.
Or they're also playing New York because of the fact that they have the Ultimate Girls Trip airing on Bravo right now. And they want to familiarize people with these.
Old school OC yesterday. Now, I want to tell you, I never really liked Teddy Mellencamp, and I still don't.
She's become more open and funnier and more engaging.
What's funny about her? There's nothing funny about her.
On her podcast, she's great.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't watch her podcast because I have my own.
And I think that her own life is not interesting.
Mine,
I don't think that her life is interesting.
Hers. Well, mine isn't either.
You don't talk about, but your podcast, all your podcasts are talking about other people, other things.
And she is too.
On her podcast when she was a housewife and she was
she had to talk about herself.
That was her storyline.
Oh, okay. I will say there's something I love about Vicky Gunvalson, that she's in the car and Shannon's telling her life story, but she got to work and never changes. And as soon as they got there, she wanted a drink. I mean, thank God. It must have been a horrible night for these women, though. It was raining. They were all dressed in their theme.
I thought Vicky handled Teddy being the host very fine. I thought she handled it great.
I know, but I've never watched Traitors, so I didn't know what they were talking about.
Too many rules for me.
Their makeup wasn't good. Their hair wasn't good. It was pouring outside. The whole thing. John
Heather
Jansen
was rude to Katie.
Heather has a tendency to be always Miss Fancy
all
Pants, rude.
All about Real Housewives, the reviewer is obsessed with Heather. I read their review of this episode, and like the way that they dismissed Katie's attempt with Heather, it's like they're like, oh, well, why does Heather care that you're apologizing? It's like, I don't know, because this show isn't supposed to be like Heather Dubrow's energy and Heather Dubrow's personality is not relatable. Therefore, like, we can appreciate it and we can find it funny and we can laugh with it, but it's not something that A, we should normalize, or B, that we should strive to be like. And so anyone that aligns with Heather Dubrow, you don't understand the real intention of the housewives. Like, characters like Heather Dubrow are needed to create fun and energy and experiences,
and the wealth. She has the
drama,
most wealth,
and like to give it some sex appeal in a way without it being, not sex. Make it sexy. But it's not the reality of why people tune in. If there was 6 Heather Dubrows on a cast, they've done that with Beverly Hills, and it didn't go as well. You needed Russell committing suicide, the $50,000 6-year-old birthday party, Kyle stealing Kim's house. So it was like you needed that. You couldn't just have a bunch of Lisa Vanderpumps, or it wasn't going to be good. And so I just think be wary of how much you support Heather, because I don't even think Heather's actions are meant to have supporters. She knows her role on the show. It's Fancy Pants. And she's
it is a role. She treats this like a television series.
Yeah.
Not like this is my life. She treats it like her and Terry as we're performing right now, without a doubt.
Totally.
Yeah, without a doubt. But the thing is, Heather elevates this franchise in that she's the only one with real wealth.
Totally.
Yeah, because we know Jen doesn't have any, Gina doesn't have any. Emily is maybe got some from Shane's family coming in. I mean,
Heather's family is also a walking diversity, equity, and inclusion office. It's
my gosh.
It's like a DEI office on wheels.
And then Tamara.
So there are people that care about it because they're either, what does that mean? Or they're like, woke, woke, woke. So she brings in that crowd too.
Yeah.
And most of the women on that show don't.
Right. No, because their OC is very conservative.
Right. But compared to like Potomac and Atlanta and all these places that are talking about
but Vicky, I would say is probably, besides Heather, makes the most money because she does have a huge insurance agency.
Yes.
So Shannon's
personal wealth.
Yeah. On her own and everything. But Gina
Heather
doesn't.
I wouldn't say Heather's on her own.
No. I said, take Heather out of the mix. She's the only one with real wealth on this show. I would say that Vicky is very well off.
Outside of the housewife impact.
Right. Vicky's not buying a $55 million house ever. She might buy a $5 million house and have that level of success, which God bless her on her own. Fantastic.
Amazing.
But she doesn't have Heather Dubrow.
She also hasn't been getting the housewife, $750,000 salary as many years as Heather because she's left the show.
Yeah, but she did use it to expand her brand.
Oh, her
with
business,
Coda Insurance.
because of when she came on the show, there wasn't even the Bethany clause. So Vicky's been able to always promote Coda Insurance without Bravo trying to take a piece of the pie.
Right, and she's doing well on that. But Tamara doesn't have any exceptional wealth. Maybe
the podcast is probably making her money now though, because she gets her and Teddy get about 100,000 listeners per episode. They make 10 grand per episode. She's making 20 grand a month off of her podcast.
Okay, yeah.
That's still not.
She's still not going to be buying a $55 million home.
No.
This is what I'm saying. That puts her in a whole other league. And even Vicky has a little bit more wealth than all of them. But Gina, Emily, Jen, well, we know Jen. Katie, I don't know what her deal is. I haven't figured out her money. Tamara, they're very upper middle class.
Shannon has money.
Shannon has family money that she'll get from her father, and she gets a good chunk from David every month.
David and
Lindsay. Lindsay's money too.
If you don't know what we're referencing, check out our Hot Topics that's on, because
about
Lindsay Bedore demands that the house is hers and her husband.
We need to do a little clip and send that to Lindsay or hashtag her, because I think she would love that she was mentioned in any podcast. And that was my own shade to you, Lindsay, but God bless you. Hey, you live with David Bedore. Okay. The three amigas, they ain't coming back.
No, but the other part is I have a feeling that scene that we watched is going to be a flashback in a few episodes, because I have a big feeling that Vicky and Shannon in that moment thought that the Trace Amigas live show was back together.
Yes.
And Tamara did not say that.
No, she never did.
She just said it was more of like, we're together, the three of us.
Yes.
It had nothing to do. And that's why I think they didn't cut out the other women going, oh, are we going to see her performance tonight? That was a crumb.
Right. And I want to say this, and I don't know, I want other people to tell me what they think. Honestly, when Tamara, Vicky, and Shannon are getting along and having a good time, I love that trio. I do.
Think Tamara sticks. I don't think Tamara fits with them.
No, you know what? When they're together and they're in Mexico and they're doing shots and they're going in the pool and they're drowning each other, I enjoy that. I do. I like I like them when they're getting along. I think the show's best. Now, first of all this stuff with John Jansen in the video, it will reveal itself in time. And he is a piece of shit. I have to say that. I want to say, Tamara, the idea that everybody wanted you dead and nobody trusts you. And she thinks
dead. She's the traitor.
She's the traitor. You know what I mean? Well, that was
everyone wanted you dead.
You know what I mean? But the idea that you're the truth teller is no, it's not. You think they just want you out of there. They just what's the word? Went after you for that reason.
How about the fact that Teddy's the host, Tamara's Day, and Tamara was on the show? She's the fucking traitor. I could have told you that 3 times sideways, and it would have. Again, this is where I know,
but she thinks it's because she's
me.
But she thinks it's because she's the truth teller. It's not, because deep down your castmates can't stand you,
Tamara. It's because you're on reality TV and
they trust you,
and producers don't know how to be subtle. That's what it is. We all knew you were going to be the traitor.
Could you put your hand in that box?
I don't know. Could you?
I was confused by the whole game. I'll be honest. I didn't get the point.
I don't understand the whole thing.
I don't understand anything. And let's get to the key part of the night when my jaw literally dropped.
Yep. What?
Had to have been scripted.
What?
When Teddy pushed Tamara in the pool.
Yes.
She had to have known. I couldn't, but you know what I thought at the moment? I went, because I'd be so upset if I had all the hair and makeup and everything and I was wet. But then afterwards I thought, oh, those two planned it. But for that moment, I went, she threw her in the pool. It's freezing cold out.
Your husband's in the pool.
Back to Jersey. I will say Heather Dubrow is a fantastic actress. Well, just the way when she knew she was it, she went, oh, did you see what they did there? I mean, it was such good diversion. It was beautiful.
So good, but at the same time,
so good.
It's just too produced for me.
She would be such a good double agent.
Maybe.
She would be. She'd be a great double agent. Like, she should be having a whole thing with Israel, because I know they're Jewish. Israel in the U.S., so she could be a double agent somewhere.
I'm thinking more like, you remember that show on Disney years ago, Kim Possible, with the little like cartoon character, the redhead that was like the spy, Kim Possible, it was called.
It was a cartoon, right?
Yeah, I think that Heather Dubrow could play
real life.
Heather could play the grown-up, real life Kim Possible. The movie would be Heather Dubrow.
Oh, okay. She's always a little bit Marlo Thomas, that girl, to me.
Okay.
You'd have to be old enough to know that reference. Who was your mess?
My mess only because like I sometimes find, I think it's probably because of the plastic surgery. Emily, when she cries, for me, is just so messy, and you can just
Oh,
see the amount of Botox that she's had. She doesn't know how to like pretty Botox cry. It's still she's
oh,
still doing. She hasn't learned how to control her face enough, so she has that very much like
oh. Well, you know what though? I thought she looked just like her daughter when she had
mm.
no makeup on. Um, who's a mess? I don't know. I thought, I don't know. There wasn't any one
I
person that
think that
stuck out
Emily
as
being so
extra
open
messy.
about how messy she's been and how like with her mom and Jennifer, because here's the thing at the end of the day. We know a lot about Jennifer. We also know about Ryan and Shonay Hotani.
Yeah,
Um,
which is coming up.
but
They got a bonus with that they weren't
Jennifer doesn't
expecting.
do anything wrong to people. Jennifer's not mean. Jennifer's quite frankly very nice. And she is always trying to give all of those women the
True,
benefit of the doubt. She
true.
never meets an
Yeah,
apology with anger. She never doubles down on apologies.
right.
She always
I
tries
would
to
say
give
she's
them a
not
chance.
malicious at all.
She's not. And
She's not.
so,
Even when people are nasty to her, she is not nearly as vindictive and nasty back. She's very
yeah. And so I just, because of that, by default, I think just seeing that we all kind of saw it come to a T, I just say Emily's the mess because the way she has approached Jennifer all season to this point has been very messy.
and I
Gina's battle with Jennifer, not yours.
right. And I think it was interesting the juxtaposition of Emily's never had anybody really taking care of her. Even now, I'm not sure if Shane takes care of her. And he didn't for a long time because she kind of made it out like he was a little bit, anyways. But she's always had to fight for
Hmm.
everything.
Yeah, no,
And
I
Jen
appreciate it.
admitted, and we've talked about this, I don't think Jen's ever had to lift a finger her whole life.
She admits
And
that too, though.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's hard because when you've never had to lift a finger and then you have somebody who's had to scrap their whole life, they kind of resent the
It's also hard to relate. Those people are hard to relate together. And it's also, so it's hard to relate when Jennifer having everything and Emily not. But
yeah,
then it's also hard to relate watching Jennifer kind of like flail like a beached whale when everything's taken away. And
right.
Emily, that's why Emily and Tamara are like, do something, do something.
Yeah.
So
I will say the previews look good.
they do. They do. It's going to be heating up. I can't wait. And
It's so
yeah,
good.
tune in. We love you guys.
Oh, and
Follow us,
please, if you want to
subscribe,
hear some
like.
more about Shannon Bedore and her breathalyzer, stay tuned for Hot Topics today.
Hot topics. Love you guys.